It was July 1947, a silent night in New Mexico. A light rain was falling from the sky. In the distance, a farmer was tying up his horses in the middle of the desert and returning home. Suddenly, a strange streak of light appeared in the sky. It was so bright for a moment that the darkness of the night was torn apart like a lightning flash. Then, a terrifying sound. The earth trembled. And after a few seconds of silence, a mystery was born in the history of the world: the Roswell Incident. Roswell, New Mexico. The population was only a few thousand at the time. A small town in the heart of the desert, but this peaceful town would later become the center of the 20th century's most discussed mystery. A regular rancher named Mac Brazel, who worked at the Foster Ranch near Roswell, went out the next morning to check on his livestock. On his way, he saw strange debris scattered on the ground. Shiny pieces of metal like aluminum, but light and tough, somewhat bent, yet immediately springing back to its original shape. Along with these were some circular pieces with unknown symbols inscribed on them. Mac Brazel initially thought it might be a crashed experimental airplane. The nearby town of Roswell was home to the Roswell Army Air Force Base, RAF, which housed America's most secretive bomber unit, the one that had dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima during World War II. Therefore, he assumed it was something military. But the nature of the debris, it confused him. They were neither ordinary metal nor wood nor plastic. 2 days later, Mac Brazel told his friends and neighbors about the incident. They were all amazed and advised him to report it. He met with the Roswell sheriff, George Wilcox. The sheriff immediately informed the RAAF base. A counterintelligence officer named Major Jesse Marcel was sent from the base to investigate. What Marcel saw at the crash site widened his eyes with astonishment. The metallic pieces were so light they were blowing away in the wind, yet so strong that they couldn't be broken even with a hammer. He collected some samples and returned to the base, reporting to the commander that very night. The next morning, July 8, 1947, a press release was issued by the Roswell Army Air Force Base, titled, "RAF Captures Flying Disc in Roswell Region. The Army has secured a flying disc in the Roswell region." This news spread instantly. Radio, newspapers, news agencies, everyone began clamoring. A flying disc was the term for a UFO, unidentified flying object at the time. The eyes of the world immediately turned toward that small town of Roswell. But, surprisingly, the story took a sharp turn within hours. A second press release came out from the same base, this time stating, "No flying disc. It was a weather balloon. No flying disc. It was a weather balloon." The public was stunned. Why was the same military giving such conflicting statements within a day? A few days later, the Army called journalists and showed them, "Look, this is just a radar tracking balloon." But those who had seen the wreckage the previous day knew this was no ordinary balloon. Mac Brazel was kept in custody for a few days, and when he was released, his statement completely changed. He said, "Yes, I made a mistake. It must have been a balloon." But the fear in his eyes, the repressed panic on his face, people realized something was being covered up. Years passed. Roswell became a kind of myth. During the 1950s and 60s, when the Cold War was at its peak, America was running various secret projects, such as Project Mogul, Project Blue Book, etc. The government claimed that what crashed at Roswell was a secret balloon from Project Mogul, which was used to detect sound from Soviet nuclear tests. However, many witnesses, such as Major Marcel and his family, claimed until their last day, it was not a balloon. Marcel's son said, "I held those pieces in my hand myself. It was something not made on Earth." In 1978, a former nuclear physicist, Stanton Friedman, began investigating the old files of the Roswell incident. He found testimony from many military officers stating that not only metal, but also strange bodies were recovered from the crash site. Some said they looked human-like, but small in stature with grayish skin and large eyes. Thus began a new chapter in the Roswell Incident. In 1980, the book The Roswell Incident was published, where it was first publicly stated that an alien craft had crashed in Roswell, and the government had covered it up. This was an explosion in the American public consciousness. Across the country, UFO reports, testimonies, TV shows, Roswell was discussed everywhere. In the 1990s, the American government came under pressure, The public demanded documents from the CIA and Air Force under the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. Some documents were released, showing that in the 1940s and 50s, America was indeed conducting numerous secret aircraft tests, such as the U-2 spy plane, Project Oxcart, SR-71 Blackbird, etc. The government stated, "The Roswell UFO rumor is actually a consequence of our secret tests." But the questions remain. Why did the military state in 1947 that they had secured a flying disc? Why was Mac Brazel detained? Why was Major Marcel silenced? In the 21st century, Roswell has become a tourist destination. Thousands of people visit every year to the UFO Museum. And for the crash site tour, however, modern researchers say it is not just a UFO story, but a history of the politics of information suppression. America was in the middle of the Cold War then, and concealing any unknown technology or secret equipment was part of national security. Yet, for those who believe in aliens, Roswell remains a sacred place. They say, we are not alone. Even after 75 years, the Roswell Incident remains a mystery. It is not just an accident. It is a symbol of human curiosity. Even today, when someone sees an unknown light in the night sky, they remember, perhaps, that night in Roswell is not over yet. Area 51, the shadow of Roswell. Just a few years after the Roswell Incident, in 1955, a mysterious military base was built in the Nevada desert, named Area 51. This name was not on any map then. Even many government employees did not know that such a place existed. But the U.S. Air Force and the CIA knew it would be their most secret testing facility. Here began a new chapter. The connection between the wreckage of Roswell and Area 51. In the 1950s, the Cold War was intensifying. The Soviet Union was testing nuclear weapons, and America was desperate to develop new technology. The CIA launched a secret project, Project Aquatone, under which the U-2, history's first high-altitude spy plane, was developed. A secluded desert area in Nevada was chosen for the construction and testing of this aircraft, secretly codenamed Area 51. The project was so secret that engineers could not even tell their families where they were working. They were just told, "You are testing something in the desert." For years, witnesses to the Roswell incident claimed that the strange metallic pieces and unknown objects recovered from the crash site were later taken elsewhere. But where? Through various secret sources and testimonies, one name repeatedly surfaced: Area 51. In the 1960s, a former military engineer, Bob Lazar, came forward claiming he had worked in a secret unit of Area 51 called S4, where extraterrestrial technology was being analyzed. He stated, "There were 9 aircraft there that were not human-made. I saw for myself that their propulsion system worked like an anti-gravity engine." This statement caused a storm across America. The government, of course, denied his statement, saying, "That person has no employment record." But strangely, Bob Lazar's educational information was later erased from university records. It was as if his past had been wiped clean by someone. Area 51 was primarily established to test new generation aircraft. The U-2 spy plane, the A-12 Oxcart, and later the legendary SR-71 Blackbird were built and tested here. These aircraft could fly at an altitude that no country had previously imagined, nearly 80,000 feet. Consequently, when many ordinary citizens saw streaks of light flying in the sky, they thought, that must be a UFO. The CIA later admitted in 1994 that more than 50% of the UFO sightings reported in the 1950s and 60s were reflections of secret aircraft testing. Nevertheless, some parts of Area 51 remain completely secret even today. Ordinary people still cannot enter the base. Even taking pictures from the sky is prohibited there. Several former scientists have claimed that objects recovered from Roswell were taken to Area 51, and the process of reverse engineering, i.e., analyzing and recreating alien technology in reverse, began. According to them, some modern inventions were born from that technology. Fiber optic cables, nanochips, night vision technology, stealth technology. These were indeed discovered suddenly in America at the end of the 20th century, advancing the country technologically by decades. Of course, the government has never admitted to these claims. In 1989, Multiple people reported seeing strange bright lights in the sky near Las Vegas on the same night. That video was broadcast on TV, showing a circular object changing direction at immense speed, in a way that is not possible for any human-made aircraft. After the release of this video, crowds of people began to gather around Area 51. UFO watch parties started in the night sky there, which later turned into a tourist festival. In 2013, the CIA admitted for the first time, yes, Area 51 is a real military base, but it is only for advanced aviation research, not for any extraterrestrial activities. Yet, after the map of the once secret base was released, it was seen that many parts of it are still at the top secret level. Various researchers ask, if there are only aircraft tests there, why such strict secrecy? Area 51, the center of human curiosity. Even today, thousands of people believe that something is hidden in Area 51 that could change the history of mankind. Perhaps the broken flying disc from Roswell is kept there. Perhaps research is underway on a power that we still do not understand. In American culture, Area 51 has become an inseparable symbol. Films, books, video games, TV shows, Area 51 is a name of mystery everywhere. Perhaps there is truth there, or perhaps only human imagination. But either way, the shadow of the Roswell story still floats over the Nevada desert. Project Blue Book and modern UAP disclosure. Following the Roswell and Area 51 incidents, in 1952, the American Air Force launched Project Blue Book. It was the official government investigation project into UFO sightings or unidentified flying objects. In 17 years, 1952-1969, they investigated a total of 12,618 incidents. Out of these, 701 incidents remained unexplained. These occurred across the country: New York, California, Ohio, and even over the White House. An Air Force captain wrote in his report, "Some of these objects maneuvered in ways that no known aircraft on Earth can." The project was suddenly closed in 1969. The government said, "There is no evidence of the existence of UFOs." But some internal officials later claimed the project was not closed. It was just renamed and run more secretly. Since 2020, the U.S. government has once again begun to view the UFO issue with a new perspective. In 2021, the Pentagon released the UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Report, where 143 out of 144 incidents remained unexplained. In 2023, the first ever UFO hearing was held in the U.S. Congress, where former intelligence official David Grush stated, "We have debris of vehicles that are not made by humankind." This statement brings back the old question, what actually crashed in the sky over Roswell? Even 78 years later, uttering the name Roswell brings a flash of mystery to the eyes of Americans. Many believe the truth is hidden, just waiting for the right time. Others say it is a product of human imagination, a cosmic myth that brings together our science, belief and fear, everything. But one truth no one can deny. From Roswell to Area 51, this story is the history of America's curiosity, technology and love for mystery, and perhaps, on a deep night, when a bright light suddenly appears in the desert sky, someone will say again, Roswell has returned. The 2023 congressional hearing and disclosure, it was July 2023. The Congress building in Washington, D.C. was buzzing with the presence of journalists and Senate members. A historic hearing began, the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, UAP hearing, where, for the first time, America's former military intelligence official, David Grush, testified publicly under oath. The American government possesses debris of vehicles that are not made by humankind, and in some cases, non-human biological entities have been recovered. The entire hall fell silent. It was as if the curtain on the 76-year secret history that began in Roswell in 1947 had been slightly pulled back. In April 2020, the Pentagon officially released 3 UFO videos for the first time. They had previously been leaked, but this time, the government itself admitted them. The videos are named FLIR 1, Gimbal, Go Fast. All were recorded from the cockpit of U.S. Navy FA-18 Super Hornet fighter jets. The videos show a strange flying object suddenly changing direction and speed in a way that defies any known aeronautical rules. One pilot exclaims in an astonished voice, "Dude, that's a fucking UFO." Such an admission had never happened before. Then in 2021, the Pentagon released a UAP preliminary assessment report, where they stated, "We have information on 144 incidents, of which 143 remain unexplained." In 2022, NASA announced that it would officially begin research into UFOs or UAPs, not to uncover a mystery, but to find a scientific explanation. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said, "I believe we are not alone. The universe is so vast that the existence of life should not be limited to Earth alone." This was a major shift in mindset for America's space agency, because in the 1970s and 90s NASA always stayed away from such topics. Now they say, "We want proof, not imagination." But the possibility cannot be denied either. The ongoing battle for truth. Since the Roswell Incident, generations of people have asked one question: is the government hiding the truth? Today, the fight to answer that question is in the hands of the American public. In 2023, American citizens and scientists united to start Disclosure Project 2.0, led by Dr. Stephen Greer. He claims that thousands of former military personnel, scientists, and pilots possess secret documents and testimonies, which prove that the government has been hiding extraterrestrial technology for many years. At a meeting held at the National Press Club in Washington, he said Roswell was the beginning. Now it's time for the truth to be revealed. Several researchers believe that extraterrestrial technology holds power that could change our current civilization. These are connected to concepts like free energy, gravity control, and zero-point propulsion. According to them, if this technology is revealed, then the oil-dependent economy will collapse. The world will become equal in terms of energy, and humanity will enter a new era. This is why they say, the truth has been hidden. Because large corporations and governments have remained silent out of fear of losing power. Even today, the area around Area 51 is closely monitored and no one can enter. Those who have mistakenly tried to enter have been arrested directly by the military. However, satellite images show that the base's size has doubled in the last 20 years. New hangars, underground tunnels, and a massive runway have been constructed. Is this only for aircraft testing, or is something else going on? No one knows. Moreover, in 2019, a meme event went viral about Area 51, called Storm Area 51. They Can't Stop All of Us, where hundreds of thousands of people announced their participation. Although it eventually turned into a festival, the message was clear. People want to know the truth. In 2024, a new bill was proposed in the U.S. Congress, the UAP Disclosure Act, which demands the release of all secret UFO-UAP documents held by the government. This proposal states, any non-human origin technology or biological evidence held by any governmental or private entity must be made public. If this is enacted, then for the first time we will know what actually happened behind the scenes of incidents like Roswell and Area 51. However, due to political pressure and excuses of security, the law has not yet been passed. The change in human perspective: scientists no longer view the concept of alien life as science fiction. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope has now entered an era where it is finding the presence of methane, carbon dioxide, and even ammonia in the atmospheres of other planets, suggesting the possibility of life. A report released in early 2025 stated, elements have been found on a distant planet called K218b, raising the possibility of the existence of life. So, if life exists there, why would they not contact Earth? Was Roswell the first glimpse of that contact? Psychological and social impact. If tomorrow morning the government announces, yes, we have found evidence of alien life, then what will happen? Psychologists say its impact on human society will be twofold. One group of people will be filled with wonder and curiosity, wanting to advance science further. On the other hand, many religious and social structures may be shaken, because this would be the biggest truth in human history. We are not alone. Even today, nearly a century later, Roswell is not just the name of a town. It has become a symbol of human curiosity, fear, and the desire to know the unknown. Area 51 still stands silently in the middle of the desert. Its boundary sign reading "No Trespassing, Deadly Force Authorized" swinging in the wind. But perhaps on a deep night, when a bright light again floats across the Nevada sky, someone will whisper. The Roswell story is not over yet. The Roswell Incident taught us history is formed not just by events, but by questions. We still do not know what actually crashed on that night in 1947, but we know that since that night, humans have turned their gaze to the sky, wondering for the first time, are we alone? And perhaps very soon, when the door to truth opens, human civilization will write its history anew, where Roswell will be just the beginning, not the end.